Okay, this is problem number 11 on the section 10.1 and 10.2 homework. And it says, in a clinical trial, 17 out of 857 patients taking a prescription drug daily complained of flu-like symptoms. Suppose that it is known that 1.7% of patients taking competing drugs complain of the flu-like symptoms. Is there sufficient evidence to conclude that more than, that's what I was trying to highlight in my green, more than 1.7% of this drug users experience flu-like symptoms as a side effect at the alpha equals 0.1 significance level? So I like to, when I read the problem, I like to go ahead and right then and there go through and collect my different values that I'm going to need for the rest of the problem. So there's my 17, 857 is going to be my N. That 1.7 is going to be my P naught, my 1.7%. What else? Oh, alpha is 0.01. All right, so the first thing that it asks us to do is make sure that we have met the criteria for this being normal so that we can even do this z-test business, because if it's not normal, none of this is going to work quite like we want it to. So here I have this is my N, right? And I'm just plugging this into the formula times P naught, which 1.7% is a decimal, is 0.017 times 1 minus 0.07. That's this part of the formula, and that came out to be 14.3. So that's my first blank. The rule is that all this business has to be greater than 10, so that's what they want to go right here, greater than 10. The sample size is less than, and here, I mean, there's a lot of assuming going on, and that kind of makes me a little bit uncomfortable. But in theory, you have 857 patients, and apparently there's a whole lot of people that are taking these two competing drugs. It's not just a small group of people taking these drugs, so they let us assume that it's less than 5% of the population size, and then therefore the sample can be assumed that it's a simple random sample, which is another one of the criteria for testing the hypothesis, so are satisfied. So, I mean, basically MathXL wants us to practice the rest of the problem, and you can't practice the rest of the problem if you didn't meet your criteria up here. So, they're gonna make all that work, but I don't like that they have us assume so much up top. All right, what about our null and our alternative hypothesis? So we know our P naught, what we're interested in is this more than 1.7%. So here we have P naught is, ooh, that's kind of off. All right, so is always equal to, your null is always equal to the 0.017. And versus H1, my lines are off, H1, P naught, and they just call it P. I don't think you had a choice of it being P naught, is greater than, and it's greater than because of this more than right here, 0.017. So that's our null and our alternative. So then I go to my calculator, and this is what I entered in my calculator. My P naught's 0.017. My X is 17. That's how many people in the clinical trial had the flu-like symptoms out of 857 people, and then it blacked out, but that was supposed to be is greater than my P naught, because I'm interested in, is there more than that many people? And then I clicked calculate, and then this is the screen that it gave me after I hit calculate. It gave me my Z value, my P value, my P hat, and my N. So here they're asking for Z, so that's the 2 decimal places, 0.64 number. The P value is the 0.3 decimal places, 260 number. and then choose the correct conclusion below. And so let's see, alpha, do not reject, reject, do not reject, reject. And so let's come over here to our side. Well, I don't really have side room. So we're comparing P to alpha. And if P is less than alpha, then we reject the null, right? And so in this case, our P is 0.260. Is that less than our alpha, which was 0.1? Question mark, and that would be a no. So we don't say that we say that we do not reject. We don't exactly say that we accept the alternative hypothesis, but we do not reject. So it's not going to be B or D, because we're going to not reject. Let's see what's the difference between A and C. Do not reject more than. Okay, so this one says there is sufficient. This one says there is not sufficient. Remember in the wording, we said if you do not reject, then there is not sufficient evidence. And so our answer is C. I know that feels weird, but that's what you do. All right. And those were all my choices for the other things.